Hello, gorgeous ladies of Unity and Private Coaching. Oh my gosh, Jasmine, you're so beautiful. You look so fresh. You're like the visual representation of a woman in this moment. Like I feel with the cat. I feel like you should be in a something commercial. Anything. A commercial of any kind in this moment. Yes, yes. Exactly. Someone pay this woman now. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so happy to see you guys. Danielle, I love your background. You look like this is a pretty next level setup you got there going on. Ah, Catherine, I'm so happy to see your face. I love you. I missed you. Shoshanna, look at you with your little pink beanie. Why is everybody so cool? What's going on? Julia, so happy to see you. Oh my gosh, and Steph's on the call. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Okay, I have so many things I want to tell you, and I've had some like really epic breakthroughs that are, these are the kinds of breakthroughs sometimes that I don't talk about because they're just a little ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't even know who to talk about this stuff with. And then I get to talk about it with you. And this, it still may feel a little bit like I never thought about that, or it might actually feel like, holy crap, I just realized something. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to share something with you. Suzy, hi, Suzy. So one of the big things that's been happening in my life, I've noticed, is that I have these like very split experiences where things are going so well that I feel like, pinch me, what the hell is my life? And then on the flip side, things are going so ridiculously bad that I'm like, how is this possible? Like, how does this many unfortunate events happen in a row like this? Tara, so happy to see you. I'm just about to dive into some pretty next level stuff. So it's perfect timing for you to show up. So if we look at like the next level amazingness of my life, there's one angle where it's like, I get taken and whisked away by Cartier, all expenses paid, first class flight, huge hotel suite, 4 nights, Michelin star restaurants, amazing shopping experiences, gala evenings with billionaires and celebrities. Like the whole thing makes no sense. And then I can't go to the bathroom for 16 days. You know, I end up going to the place I've always wished to go. I went to the Azulik Hotel in Tulum and stayed in my dream hotel room that I've always wished to go. And it rains for 4 days and there's no roof in those things. So it's raining into the room. There's no couch. There's no nothing. Like these rooms are designed for you to be living the life outside, but it's torrential rainstorm with like thunderstorming for hours on end and torrential rain. And we're just sitting in a bath because we might as well be soaking wet if we're going to get rained on. But it's not even a real bath. It's about this deep and it's for cenote water. So we're just sitting in there. It's raining on us. They don't have what it takes to deliver food. They bring us wet tacos. I'm sitting in a bath eating wet tacos in the room of my dreams. And I'm like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Like the duality of things, right? We go and we have this incredible journey. We go on this beautiful yacht. We have this incredible adventure. But then every single thing when I come back home is like, everything is breaking down. Nothing is working. You know, it's like the driver the first thing was the first flight I had to get on. The flight attendant was a psycho. Like I've never experienced this in my life. She was like, okay, now here's what you're going to do. If ever the plane goes down, here's what you've got to pull and here's how you've got to do it. And I said to her, like, I don't really love the way you're explaining this to me. Like, it feels very like, here's the direction for when the plane goes down. She's like, well, it's probably not going to happen, but I just want to make sure. Like, even in her response to I'm uncomfortable with the way you're saying it, she was still uncomfortable. She was still odd. And I was like, so exhausted, hadn't been to the bathroom at this point in like 11 days. I'm not feeling well. And I'm like leaning into the window to like try to sleep. And she pokes me and she's like, oh, you're the only person in an exit row. I would need you to not sleep. I would feel safer if you weren't sleeping. And she grabs my big jacket that I'm freezing. It's so cold on this plane. I've got this big jacket on me. She takes my jacket off. She's like, I'm going to put this over there because it's better if you don't have anything on you in case something happens. I'm like, what are you not telling me, lady? Like, what are you not telling me? And so I tell Kevin this story and he's like, okay, never again. Like we're going to get you on a bigger flight next time. We're going to get you all sorted, because this one, when it's me, I'll often just be like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't need why do I need a fancy flight from Toronto to Montreal? Just put me on a Porter flight. It'll take me 10 minutes to get there. It's the easiest airport. It's right next to our hotel. I'll get on the flight. I'll land in Montreal. It's perfect. Guess not. So then it's like, the difference between a $200 flight and a $1,400 flight. But it's like, why would I get that flight? Well, for the experience. Okay, fine. So get me the experience. So then it's like in the back of my head, I'm like, well, I might as well just get a private jet from Montreal to Toronto. I might as well charter a jet. It'll cost me 10 grand, 20 grand to go from Montreal to Toronto, but I might as well do that. Okay, no, that's ridiculous. So, okay, $1,400 to go from Montreal to Toronto. Well, something happens. The 2:30 flight gets delayed. There's all these angry people that are waiting on standby. Everyone's pissed off, waiting to get on the plane. Then the plane gets delayed because they're waiting for, like, the priority people get food. So they're waiting for the food to land. The food they were waiting for was 3 slices of salami, a piece of brie cheese, and a pickle. They waited 40 minutes for this food. And then they lost their place on the tarmac because they'd waited so long for the food. So they had to wait an hour and 20 minutes on the tarmac. And then when we landed in Toronto, they lost their place on the tarmac there. So we had to wait another hour and 20 minutes. And it ended up taking me from 4 p.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning to get to Toronto. And all I'd had was 3 pieces of salami, a piece of brie, and a pickle. And I'm like, and it cost me $1,400 for this experience. And my problem was not that the plane was going to go down. The problem was the plane was not going up. Like, what's happening? And so I'm like, what would have happened? Sausage is apparently highly important. And don't forget the pickle. Like, what is happening? And so I'm like, okay, so what would have happened if I had a call at 9 p.m.? I was supposed to be in by 6. What would have happened if I had a call at 9? I got in at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I would have wrecked. Let's look at all the places where that would have been a problem. If I had a one-on-one call with a client that's paying me $50,000 a month and I just miss a call, that doesn't work. If I miss a Unity call where people are literally paying me $175,000 a year to be on, and I miss a call because I'm in the air and I can't, that doesn't work. If I miss an AFE call that generates me multi-millions of dollars a year to be on time and I can't make the call because I'm like, that doesn't work. If I miss an E3 call that they only get one a month and it generates $1 million a year, that doesn't work. So I'm like, I'm the kind of person now that needs an insurance policy on my time. Who's going to tell me that? Who's going to tell me you're too important to fly Porter? You're too important to fly Air Canada. You need a private jet that's going to be waiting for you on the tarmac and is going to deliver you exactly where you need to be on time, because it's going to cost you more to be late than to be bougie. On what day does that happen? It costs you more to be late than to be bougie. It costs you more to not show up on time. It costs you more to say, I'm so sorry, it's because my flight was delayed. Nobody cares your flight was delayed in life. Nobody cares about that. You care about it. They don't care about it. You know, it's the difference between, oh, when you book the hotel suite that costs, and this is the thing, the big realization that I got, and I'm like, where can I tell people this? And it's like, I can't tell people anyway. So I'm so grateful for this mastermind. Sometimes I've got things that I just want to say, and I'm like, people aren't advanced enough financially to get this, but the luxury division of things in life is completely in a different ball game financially than any other thing. It'll be like, so there's a hotel room. Let's say the Georges V Hotel when we stayed in Paris. The rooms are like $3,000 a night, and the presidential suite is 39,000 euros a night. And then there's a second one at 25, and there's another one at 19,000 euros a night. But when you book that one, you get everything your heart desires. You could say, find me a pony. And they would be like, by what time? What color? You know, it's like the answer is yes. What's the question? That's how it starts to be. But in the same hotel, on the first floor in a regular room, you can't get a peanut butter sandwich on time. So why is the luxury world so extraordinarily separate from the regular world? Is because there's only 1% of the population that actually even operates on the frequency where you would need a pony and they would find it for you immediately, where you would need to say, no one can bother me whatsoever. My phone just died. I need a new phone. I lost my phone. My luggage got lost. I need you to find me this dress in this color and this size and bring it to my room. But that room, they'll do it for you. So who do you need to be to make sure, like, what happens? Because I thought they lost my luggage on the flight, on the Air Canada flight, because all of a sudden I've been waiting there for about an hour for my luggage and it's not coming and it's not coming. And I'm like, what is happening? So I asked someone about it and they were like, oh, it's because 2 other flights have landed since yours, because you got stuck on the tarmac and then you got stuck on the tarmac again while 2 other flights left on time. So you have to wait till the 2 other flights that landed on time get their luggage, then yours will come. But for a moment, I actually thought my luggage was lost. And so if my luggage was lost, let's say I had an event with an important outfit that was in that. You think Air Canada cares about my important event? You think they care about my bougie little dress and my fancy shoes? They don't give a crap about my situation. They'll be like, when your luggage is found, it will be sent to you. And if you want to buy yourself a toothbrush and some makeup remover, we will give you a voucher for that. No, they don't care at all. There's no one that's responsible. I'm responsible for having an important event and not caring enough about it that I would book a regular flight. I'm responsible. And so I started realizing, like, luxury is the protection of your importance. Because until you tell people you're important, you're not. And you tell them with the way you treat yourself. You tell them with the way you spend your money. You tell them with the decisions you make. If you say, I have a very important event tonight, except it's not important enough for me to make sure my luggage shows up because I'm willing to gamble a flight, then it's not important. And you're going to try to make the airline responsible for something that's so important that you weren't willing to protect. How do you do that? And so everybody wants to be treated like they're important, but they don't treat themselves that way. And it hit me that at this level, I again didn't raise the importance again. So remember how I was talking about in the buyer last year and in the cash program, you've got to raise your personal power. You got to raise your love and your self-importance. You've got to raise both at the same time, because if you just raise your love for people, but you don't raise your self-importance, eventually things start to break down. I didn't realize you had to keep raising your self-importance, because at some point I always expected someone's going to just take over this. Like, someone's going to be like, all right, the eagle has landed. Do we have everybody settled? Is everything figured out? Do we have it? But it's like, no, I've got to have the higher standards for me. When we landed in Mexico City, Cartier made me realize something. When we landed, we had a bodyguard, a security person, a personal driver. And it was like, well, of course, we know what kind of jewelry you're traveling with. And I was like, holy schmucks, I would not have even done that for myself. So then when we went to Tulum, I was like, I should probably do that for myself now. And then I booked it for myself. But I wouldn't have. They saw me as more important than I did. They saw me as more of a thing to protect than I did. And that was such a shocking thing in the moment, where I still, even when I realized, when they gave me the price in Tulum, how much it is for a driver and a bodyguard, and for someone to stand guard at the door of Azulik and say, this is your security guard at the door. This is your security guard that travels with you. This is your driver. And then I got the bill and I was like, I don't need that. What am I protecting? My freaking life, because I'm traveling with $1 million of jewelry on me. I'm protecting my life. And I'm willing, and the number felt a lot. And I realized the value of money when we are self-made, it's a bit skewed. It's almost like we're willing to pay for the experiences, but not the protection. We want to pay for the trip, but not the insurance. And that's because we haven't had a lot of money and we really value our money. We want to make sure, is it worth it? But if the question, is it worth it, comes to your mind, and the thing you're asking, is it worth it, has anything to do about your health, your life, your protection, your well-being, and you're asking the question, there's no shocking X factor why things aren't working the way we want in other areas. If your profound question behind the scenes is it worth it, when you're talking about your life or your well-being or your arrival on time or your bags arriving properly or your event going properly, it's like, well, how am I even questioning this? But it is difficult to say, okay, so hang on a second. In order for me to get my life properly together, what I would probably have to have, if I really think about this, and this is like the most shocking, mind-boggling thing on earth, I would probably need to have two drivers on staff, because I haven't had Kevin for a week and a half, and I can tell you, this is not fun. Like yesterday when we had the power outage, and I had to pack my entire stuff up while I was running my coaching calls, while I was doing all my things, trying to get myself to sit in unity, but being like, I'm going to be completely not present. I need to get myself to this location. All the power lines are closed. I can't get myself a coffee. The lineup at Starbucks takes an hour and a half. And then to get to the house and the water, there's a water thing that broke down and I had to figure out how to get the battery to stop beeping in time for the call instead. Like, this is not fun. But why am I still doing this? I need 2 drivers so my driver can have a day off, and I need both of them to be willing to travel. I need a vehicle for both of them to use that is one that I'm comfortable in the back seat. I need a vehicle that I like to drive and a vehicle I like to be driven in, because those are 2 different kinds of cars. I need luggage that's beautiful, that I have, and that's spacious and that makes me happy to travel in, instead of just, no, I don't buy the luxury luggage. I buy the luggage that doesn't matter if it gets banged up because I travel coach. I need a plane that I use and a person that I can contact to see if my plane's available. I need 3 planes that I can use and 3 people I can contact to see if a plane is available. I need to have hotels that are my hotels. I need people to know that when I book them, they need to have some sort of person for me on staff. When I go, I need to know, do you have a butler service? Yes or no? If not, I need to bring in a personal assistant, which means I need at least 2 personal assistants so my personal assistant can have a day off, and they need to want to travel. Can you guys see all of the things I don't have? And then if I ask myself why, the first question is, does it matter? Is it worth it? Is what worth it? Is it worth it that I feel safe, that I am safe, that I'm on time, that my clients get the best of me, that I don't travel for 14 hours, that people don't lose my luggage, that I don't make myself sick because I've got to hold in going to the bathroom or else I'm going to miss my flight. So I push it down and then I can't go for 2 weeks because I've messed my system up. Is it not worth it? And what, and how come I'm actually asking myself these questions now? And how come this wasn't all the way through growth and all the way through wealth? How is that not some of the first things I ever asked myself? Because I don't know anybody else who's successful at this level. I don't even know anybody else. So all these things are starting to hit me like, of course, a lot of people who become successful start to break down. The last thing they do is hire the amount of support they're supposed to have. Who listens to, you've got mentorship. That's fantastic. You've got someone to hold your mind. I got your back, your heart, something's going on. I got you. But what about your luggage, your transportation, your food, your well-being? Who brings you a coffee when you're running late in the morning? Who brings you lunch if you haven't eaten? Who takes care of you? My partner. Well, what if your partner's not feeling well? Or what if something's up with his family and your partner needs to go? What if you're traveling with your family? What if? And I'm realizing how many ways my life could be so much easier. I don't have a partner. So your sons, well, what about when your sons are busy or go with their friends or have partners? And the person you relied on that did it because they loved you now has something else they want to do. They're not being paid. It's not their job. And so what I realize is if I raise the self-importance, it starts to have an impact everywhere. Because the experience of me that I have on the morning that I wake up and someone brings me a coffee and someone drives me to where I want to go and everything is seamless and someone's like, good morning. And they're in a good energy and they grab my bags, they put them in the car for me and they set me all up and they drive me and I'm doing the things in the back and I'm comfortable in the car and they stop at Starbucks and they order the thing that I want because they know my order while I'm still on the phone and everything is happening seamlessly for me. And next thing I have a Starbucks and I'm like, what is my life? This is incredible. And everything's working seamlessly. I am magic on freaking legs on that day. All of a sudden, it's like, I can believe I'm a big deal even more today. Am I setting myself up to believe this? Or am I trying to believe I'm a big deal and I treat myself like I'm not every day? I treat myself like it doesn't matter. I don't need that. I'll be fine. Probably nothing will go wrong. Probably it'll be fine. Probably I'll show up on time. Worst case scenario, but then I want the whole world to think I'm great, pay me millions and become successful. Where's the match? What I really need is to walk into a hotel with 2 bodyguards and people to go, who the freaking heck is that? And everyone in the hotel to hope to know who I am the whole time I'm there, and then find me on social media, say, who is that? People say that, oh, that's Melanie Ann Lair from Alpha Feminine. People look me up and go, oh my gosh, and then become clients or connect me to the right people because they watch me walk in the way I should have walked into a hotel. Not holding 2 bags while something's falling off my shoulder because I really didn't need the person to help me with my bags. I got it. It's only 3 bags. It's not about what we need anymore. It's about what we're becoming, and the embodiment of that, and the decision about that, and the creation of that. And so I've thought about celebrities that become celebrities, how they manage to embody this so quickly is they're not in charge of themselves. From the moment they get picked up by an agency with a person that manages their life and their schedule, and someone else does this for them. Someone says, we're going to Atlanta. You need to be at the airport by this time. The driver is going to come pick you up at your house. What do you need to have? We're going to have it for you. Here's your assistant. Here's your person. Your flights are booked. Everything's booked. We've got a security guard and 2 people. We've got your paparazzi blockers. We've got your people who does your social media. We've got your management campaign and the people who take care of you. This, and this is your brand director. And this is this and this and this. You've got a press conference. This thing went wrong. Read this. Do this. You're fine. That is what celebrities have, because on the day they decide, okay, I agree for you to make me a celebrity, they let them be in charge of how they're going to be perceived, how they're going to be treated, how they're going to walk into a place, what they're going to say, how they're going to act, who's going to support them. Everything is managed. We don't have that. We're literally rock stars. We make more money than most celebrities do. And we're walking around unprotected, building our own brands, singing our own praises, driving our own damn selves, parking the car, bringing our bags up, exhausted, and then leading a call and wondering why there's not more people buying. Because we'll die. We can't have more people if we don't have more support. It needs to be you have people supporting your every move. And the more you're supported, the more you can delegate. And the more you can delegate, the more you can hold. And the more you can hold, the more you can do. And so I've actually thought to myself, how did I override this for so long? How did I not realize this for so long? And I realized it, how I overrode this. I built this business during a pandemic, and my family was my team. Everybody did everything for me every second of every day, but they did it as my family. And I didn't need protection. I was in my house. I never left. People didn't know where I lived. I just was where I was. But Kevin did the shopping. I never left the house. And my dad organized the things, and I never did any of the things. This has only become a thing when I leave and my family isn't immediately there to go, we've got you. You need this, we've got it. You need this, we've got it. You need this, we've got it. And I'm in a fortress of protection, and I don't need to go anywhere. The minute I go out into the real world, there's bags to carry, there's places to go, there's jewelry on display. I'm a different person, and I don't have my dad to be there standing. I don't have a grocery store that Kevin's just going to go to 5 seconds away. People are going to come to our room. We're going out for dinner. And so I overrode this whole thing because I never was even aware of the outside world and how I experience myself in public ever since the pandemic. My last experience of myself in the public was chartering a private jet from Hawaii to Montreal because I needed to protect my sister, and because we were going to miss the birth and there was no flights. And so I did that. And that was my big shot moment. And I've literally been rolling off that energy for 2 years, 3 years. This is the first time I've really traveled and gone out. And it kind of blows my mind. Okay, that was really intense. Julie and Tara, you just synchronized, drank that water at the exact same time. If you watch the replay, you literally grabbed the glass, drank it the same way, and put it down at the exact same time. That was masterful. So anyway, this is the thing. And I look back at some of the moments where I'm like, why are things breaking down? I'm like, of course they're breaking down. This is the universe saying, you're not doing things properly. 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 You know, I was thinking of Tara and her health, and I'm like, who cooks for you? And if you say, Dave, well, what, like Dave does everything else, everything. And you probably have guilt around that. And it's probably sometimes like, don't worry, you've already done enough. I'll figure it out. How often have you not eaten the thing that was right for your body because something else was faster? How often did you skip the breakfast or go to bed late because something an assistant could have done that they're not doing, you're doing too late at night? How supported are you of like, you could literally go to an oxygen bar every day and have someone you could be breathing in like perfect air. You could be getting intravenous cleansing stuff. You could have someone show up every day with an army of supplements and the most incredible fresh produce. You could be importing stuff from the other side of the globe to support your health. You could have a private chef cooking you meals in your kitchen. You could have all of that, but you don't need that. That's crazy. I don't do that. Let's just wait till later and then go for a health retreat and take a month off, because that's how we do it, because we don't need it. But then it's like, why am I not feeling so good? Why not? I'm not feeling so good because you are a celebrity that treats themselves like a normal person. This is where we're at right now. You know how many celebrities are more known than us and make a fraction of what we make? A fraction of what we make. And no doubt that when Tara starts to take care of herself, goes to a retreat where everybody's taking care of her, all of a sudden she's like, it's so weird. I feel different about the whole thing now. Well, yeah, because you're being supported and taken care of the way you deserve to, the way your whole life should be. But it's not supposed to be just a week. It's supposed to be your entire life. You should have people every day. Good morning. Here is your this and here's your that. And how can we assist you? And how can we take care of you? Like, that's the energetic match of your spirit. It's what it's supposed to be. Of course, when Suzy's on a stage and she has the thing and everybody's freaking out and they're loving her, all of a sudden she's like, so I sold out my VIP and this is happening. We're booking the next one. But before that, when she's not sure if people are going to buy, it's like, oh my gosh, maybe I can try to get 160 and maybe, but on the stage and fresh off the stage is a whole other person. That rock star energy is not available when you're, being the mom and being the one for your kids and nobody's treating you like the rock star that you are. You're forgetting who you are until you get on the stage. And you're like, what the heck am I doing? Retreats, even retreats are too small. What are we doing? Millions of people? This is moves. It's like who you are when you're who you are is who you are. I'm getting messages from Jasmine like, oh, look where I'm speaking and look at who the rest of the panel is. And I'm like, what? But when she's speaking to me like this, I feel a different Jasmine, that the Jasmine that hasn't been speaking for a while, or the person that, and I was like, well, I'm just trying to figure out, do you think I should post this reel or that reel? And I'm like, dude, you need to go speak at that event and ask yourself the question on that night, fresh off the stage, because you know the answer. It's the same. It's Steph that the morning of something is like, I don't know, am I doing things properly? Then goes for a VIP with a client and is like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm the greatest coach ever. This is who I'm meant to be. And I get this feedback right up in my face. Like, there's no question at all. It's because we're trying to think about who we're supposed to be while we're not being that person. We're trying to figure out why we don't feel the way we're supposed to feel while acting not the way we act when we're the one. We want to feel the rock star way, treating ourselves not like rock stars. We want to feel supported and healthy, putting ourselves not first. We want to not receive too much, to not take too much, but we want to receive more in the other areas. The whole thing doesn't work. We've got to make a decision. Like, I'm a big freaking deal. And what's the next big move that would make me almost feel unworthy? Like, what's my edge? I need to push my edge of almost unworthy of this kind of love, almost unworthy of this kind of support, almost unworthy of this kind of being seen, held, loved, treated, almost unworthy. Like, this is almost hard to handle. That level, that's where we need to be pushing the envelope, where you're literally asking yourself, do I need that? Is it worth it? And the answer is yes. How much can you push that line for it to be a full freaking yes? And I'm realizing, like, for me, what that looks like is private drivers, security guards, private jets, private travel. It's a completely different game. And the thing is, if I don't spend the money, I lose the money. Because it's either I spend it in cash or I lose it in opportunity, power, identity. Breakthrough City on Health Island. The 10,000 I don't, the 20,000, the 30,000 I don't use on the private flight that's an hour long. I lose in energy, in self-esteem, in self-worth, in desire to do what I'm doing, in care of people, in love of people, in respect for businesses. You know what I mean? I'm over here hating life for 14 hours trying to get home. instead of loving life for 6 hours on a private jet, what costs me more? Being terrified that I'm not safe or feeling like a badass with a bodyguard, which one changes my state? And so we're looking at money in a one-dimensional thing. It's like money is only money, but it's not. Money is quality of life, safety, security, an insurance policy on your joy, your health, your well-being, your business, your production, your availability, your frequency, your it factor. That's what you're actually protecting, your freaking image. Like, can you imagine you run into me at an airport and I'm waiting in line frustrated because my flight's late? Would that even make sense? It's so long and I've been waiting here for 7 hours and I'm waiting for my bag and I hope I have my bag and I'm by myself. Like, it'd be so weird. But for me, it isn't. For me, it's like, well, no, it's normal. The thing is, because we're all still ordinary and we forget we're extra. And we're only willing to pay the extra if it makes sense for the money, but we forget what the money also buys us: safety, security, impact, influence, well-being, it factor, fabulousness, boldness, the feeling of like, I'm a huge freaking deal. We need that ongoing in order to hold this. If not, you're in a room with your family and you're just the daughter or just the sister and then you're in a room with your friend and you're just the friend. And then you're in the room with your partner and you're just a partner, and you're in the room with the kids and you're just a mom. And you're in the grocery store and you're just a woman. So where do you get to be the big freaking deal you're trying to enroll the entire world to understand that you are? At what point do you say, okay, I'm just a rock star and I'm about to build a whole life to really support that, where there's not 1 second of my life where I question that? You know, I was having this conversation with Shosh when she was traveling, and it was like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm just being pulled in all these directions. I was like, do you realize that you could have very much said to your partner, you go snowboarding today, and I'm going to go and find the bougiest hotel in this town, and I'm going to find a videographer and a photographer to give me photo shoots in the best parts of this town. I'm going to record the most epic content, and my social media is about to go crazy. I love snowboarding, but not as much as you. So I'm going to take 25% of this trip to create the most epic snowboarding while you snowboard. Or to create content while you snowboard. But it's like, yeah, but what about my partner? Your partner is going to snowboard whether you're there or not. Oh yeah, you're right. You're allowed to get a private driver and a security guard to make sure that you're safe. Find the best recording team, the best branding team, the best everything team, and say, let's do a Japan campaign. I'm allowed to do that? Yeah. Oh my God. And who would I be if I did that? Every time I travel, I create this whole identity brand for myself. Oh my gosh, what would happen to the business? What would happen to me? How would I feel about my travels? How would I feel about me? How would I feel about my business? And then on the days where I'm off, how would I feel about snowboarding? And what kind of conversations would I have around the fire after he snowboarded all day? And I've had an entire crew follow me around Japan, making me feel like some sort of freaking rock star. What would those conversations look like? But who gives us permission for this? Who's gonna? We don't know anybody. Nobody can comprehend that it's worth this. Your mom can't tell you because she loves you with all her heart, but she can't comprehend putting $14,000 on a flight to go from there to there, or to have you filmed by a camera crew, or to have, 20 people on staff to make sure your life is nice. Like, who's going to tell you, yes, you should do this, you deserve this? Only people who understand who you are when you feel the way you feel when those things are happening. Your light is either like the light of 1,000 suns, or your light is like the candle blowing in the wind. It's like, my light is on, or like, my light is on. We want global recognition, huge brands, and well-being, and rock star relationships, and we want to be the genie in the bottle. Entire cosmic power, tiny little living spaces. That's literally what we're doing. The hugest power of the entire world, making everybody else's dreams come true, trying to do it with the least amount of overhead for our own personal power as possible, because do we really need it? And what if we invested in that? What would that look like? What would it look like if you don't walk into a place without a bodyguard? You don't drive yourself in a traffic jam. You sit in the back and you coach your clients while someone drives you, or you have a nap in the back, or you fly private and land fresh faced with all the things that you prefer and no waiting for any luggage, and a car picks you up and brings you from the hotel to the jet to the hotel in your slippers, and all your stuff is intact. What kind of life do you live when you do that? And how often can you do this for yourself? And can you live off the energy of that? And so I wanted to bring these realizations to you, because the fact is, this is the luxury world. And I've reevaluated why I do this work. And the fact is, I did get a little caught up with people saying like, not everybody cares about the luxury and it's not all about the luxury. And I got caught up in that. And I realized, no, it's true. It's true. Not everybody cares about the luxury, but I do. It's actually supposed to be for a small group of people. It's not the whole planet that operates on luxury. That's actually why it's so magical. But all of us are very luxury-led people. We want the service the way we want it. We want to be treated the way we want, and we want to do the same thing for our clients. This is a very unique edge that we have, but it's very difficult to give to someone what you haven't freshly received. And I was having this conversation with Danielle today, because Danielle, having done the Matrix, the last Matrix, I had done this thing where, you know, people have this opportunity. If you were in Unity, you could have like a special event for yourself and like special treatment going into the Matrix. And then she's met Fred and she hired Shannon for her branding, and she's starting to see what service looks like. Your employees don't always treat you with service. They treat, you know, it's their job. And if you're still managing them, they tend to treat you like a rock star once other people are managing them. While you're still managing them, you're just a person. But to have an external person treat you the way you deserve to be treated, it does something to you. I've just watched Danielle kind of blossom in just all of a sudden being seen as she is, because they're seeing Danielle for Danielle. It's not, oh yeah, you're the person I speak to every day of my life, and you're the one who tells me this, and you're the one who's going through that. It's just like, at what time would you like to be there? And let me plan this for you. And yes, I totally see the vision, and here's what it looks like. And this, and all of a sudden this energy of like being met for who she is starting to show up. And I'm seeing it materialize in the person. When you're seen for who you are, things change. What if you don't put anybody in place to see who you are? You're just going to hope for the people to come, wish for them to come, be mad when they don't, think there's something wrong with you when they don't. How's that going to work? I've had conversations with Jasmine over so long. Where are the pictures of this event, Jasmine? I just don't want to look like I'm like you're what? Like you're gorgeous, successful, powerful, magnetic, chosen, desired, sought after, connected. What? You don't want to look like you're what part of this exactly? All of it. I don't know. I don't want people to think you're you. Like I've shown her over the years, brands I could see her embody. Like if you just did this, you live in Dubai, in the coolest place in the entire world. You've got these buildings, you have tenants, you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars here and there. You've got generational wealth. You know exactly what you're doing. You're connected. You go to a place, everybody wants to be your friend. You go to an event, you meet Akon, he messages you on Voxer. Like you're the person that everybody just loves in life, but you don't want to look like you know it. And so you're just going to not post any of the evidence or talk about it and hope that people will pay you $88 a month and not hate you for being rich. It's like you try to live below your power and be seen. How does that work? We've got to live above the power if we want to be seen. Either live below the power and be invisible. But the thing is, if you're not an asshole, then you're just not. If you are, then you are. So if you're not, how can you be afraid to be? But the thing is, it's only bragging if it's inflated, and yours isn't. You know, it's like, if it's true, it's not bragging, it's factual, but also your life is a little next level. It could look like bragging to so many people because it's like, how is this possible? But also for anyone who wants it, it would just be like, okay, I need to learn this. I want this skill. For me, talking about everything I have could be bragging. Me talking about the jets, the jewelry, the relationship, the travel, Cartier taking me, it's all bragging. But it's all true. It's not inflated. It's the truth. As long as it's the truth, I don't care who sees it as bragging, really, because it's just the truth. If the truth, on the day that your truth sounds like bragging, you freaking made it. Because there was a time my truth sounded like a tragedy. And so on the day where the truth is the very truth without inflation sounds like branding, you got to do the moonwalk on that day. That is a good day. You don't hide it. And so I really want to like infuse us with this, like, I'm the one. I'm allowed. If I don't decide I am, nobody's going to give me this. If I don't decide, like when I said in the Voxer, like I can't believe we're having these conversations with Suzy about this. Like, hopefully I can get 160 people. I'm like, I see 10,000 people in these rooms. Why? What don't you see in this moment? But fresh off the stage, she sees something so different. I've had these conversations with Catherine before, with her family. And I'm just like, I know, like, who I see you to be in your power is nothing like who you show up to be with your parents. She's like, I know, they don't even know what I do. I'm like, Catherine. And then on the flip side, I just don't know why people aren't hiring me, because you're you a fraction of the time. So you're being hired a fraction of the time. You're being hired in proportion to the amount of time you allow yourself to be who you actually are. How many hours a day are you really you in all of your power? Depends on the day. Sometimes not at all. Well, how often are you getting hired? Depends on the day. Sometimes not at all. That's not shocking. It's an energetic match for who you are. Once you stop celebrating, you know, Julia, I wish I had more to say about Julia, but Julia hides. She wants to be seen. She wants to be successful, and then she hides. I wish I could say more about Julia. Julia hides. You know, and I've had the same experience with Genevieve, but I've wanted Genevieve. I've been wanting Genevieve to have a new photo shoot for freaking years. Like, you are no longer the version of you that I see in the pictures. This is an old version of you. You need a new photo shoot. You need a new photo shoot. She's like, yeah, I know. So eventually I was just like, you've got a photo shoot. And, you know, but then again, I did the same thing for Catherine. Catherine hid the pictures for how long? It's not even what you do. It's who you are when you do it. It's not even what you get. It's what you do with what you have. It's not, what are you missing here? What is missing here? And so what I want to really see, they're out now, but notice the gap, notice the time frame, notice the pictures are out, but now it took this long before. You've already grown since the pictures. I wish you could get another one. I see another version of you already. I look at that, I'm like, she was cute. But now that's who people are seeing now. And I'm like, well, yeah, but in the moment where you were that cool and it wasn't comfortable to be that cool, you didn't know what to do with the pictures. Now you've far outgrown the pictures, you're posting them. I'm like, this was not the point. The goal is that people see you in the now, in the power of the now. So you hold on to the pictures for 6 months, you still have 6-month-old pictures. Doesn't really matter. We take new pictures, you hold on to them for 6 months, they're still 6-month-old pictures. We have the it factor. We have to show it. We have the it factor, we need to protect it. We have the it factor, we need to declare it. We have the it factor, we need to hold it. We have the it factor. And we're pretending we don't have it, all the while praying for people to see it. How is that ever going to work? And I'm speaking to us, to all of us, as if we don't have it at all, because we might as well not have it at all. For the amount of greatness we have and the level we're playing, we might as well not have it at all. Because this is so easy where we're at. That's the crazy thing for all of us. This is the easiest thing, that you're not even there yet in the big playing big. This is the comfort zone. I have a photo shoot next week. You're not scared about that at all. What's this thing you are scared about? The dissolving of the mastermind. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? See there, now we've touched the points of power, you know, like, oh my God, I can't possibly do that. I'm contemplating this huge move, but I can't do that. It makes no sense. But what does it do for you to do it? It does this, it does this, it does this. It'll give me time, freedom, a lot of time to think, a lot of time to do, a lot of time to move. Oh my God, oh my God. But I'm having a photo shoot next week. Then someone else like, I know, I'm going to book a photo shoot. You know, it's like, it's not just because it's the thing that you're doing that's difficult. It's the thing that you don't want to do, whatever it is. I'm going to get a bodyguard. I'm going to fly private. Oh my God, I'm gonna document this, or document that, or I'm gonna showcase this part that I've been hiding, or I'm gonna unleash myself to my family and tell the truth, or I'm gonna get a full support system. I want a full chef that is a nutritional expert that's gonna feed me food that makes me feel like I could fly. Like, what is it that I'm getting? How important is this? And why do I keep thinking it doesn't matter, or that it doesn't make sense? It's the only thing that makes sense. Because if you create the identity within and without, like who you are on the inside, who you are on the outside, every single part of you coherent, there will be no problems with the rest calibrating. But it's in every day that you doubt whether you're worth it or not. It's in every moment where you wonder whether you're a big deal or not. It's in every gap of time where instead of creating momentum, you're creating a question on whether or not you're there. That's where all the energy goes down the drain, is in that question. And those questions and those gaps are created by not filling them with our magic. When you're at the hotel and you're treated like gold, when you're in the presidential suite and you're being called by your full name and people remember you and they know exactly what you need and what you want, there's special attentions for you. On those days, you're a different person, but you don't really create those experiences for yourself. I want someone to call my hotel room before I check in the way I call for one of my clients if I ever book them a hotel room. I want someone to organize my travel as if I'm getting a VIP experience. Why not? I do it for my clients, but not for me. Why? Because I don't need it. Neither do they. That's not what luxury is on. The luxury is not a frequency of need. So I want to set this in motion for all of us, because I think a lot of the questions and a lot of the blocks and a lot of even the conversation about like 2x versus 10x. 2x means give more value. 10x means be the luxury space. The luxury space is the 10x space. You will pay $3,000 for a hotel room and $6,000 for a room double the size, but you will pay $30,000 for the luxury suite. You will pay $1,000 for a plane ticket and $3,000 for first class, and you will pay $100,000 for a private jet. The luxury is exponentially more. And what we want to play is the exponentially more game, not how do I get a little bit more? What's the luxury experience of this? What's the absolute next level of this? And how can we deliver that to people if we don't live it ourselves? So what's your next luxurious edge that's really required for you? A piece of the puzzle that you'd be like, I can't possibly. And then say yes to that. Yes, I could very possibly. And I'm freaking doing it. And that's it. Feel into it and see, and then focus on being grateful for it and having it floor you every day and talk about it. And what would be cool is to see how different ones of you may have different things. Like one of you might be like, you know what I would need? You know what it would really be? I would have to be followed day in and day out by a photographer and videographer to just grasp all my thoughts. Reality show for a year. I want to hire a photographer and a videographer. I'm going to get hair and makeup. X amount of days a week. Someone's going to follow me all day, every day. I'm going to create like reality show content. I see Steph doing something like this, like Gary V style, all day, every day. Someone's following her around with the camera and it's nonstop streaming. Because they just cut the content and create it for her nonstop. What kind of life would you be living if someone showed up for hair and makeup daily, brought you your coffee directly at home and filmed hours of you? Let's go shopping. Let's go driving. Let's go walking. Let's go doing all the things that you usually do. And let's just do it. Film you while you get your makeup done. Film you while you're doing this. People asking you questions. That kind of luxury thing. How much does that cost? Who cares? I don't need that. I know. What's your luxury thing? The chef, the food, the health, the well-being. What's your thing? The driver, the security guard, the person, the personal assistants that organize your entire well-being and your travel and all the things. What's yours? A professional stylist, someone that's going to bring in clothes from all over the place, style me entirely. What's yours? And then what's going to be very fun is going to be to compare what it's done for you in the mastermind and to be so freaking grateful. Like, here's what this luxury thing is doing for me right now in my life. This is what having this luxury thing is doing for me right now in my life, and inspiring each other with like all the ways that luxury can come into our lives. This is what my private driver for me did for me today. This is what my assistant did for me today. This is what the best suite in the world created for me today. This is what this, and we're going to start to build not only our experience of luxury, but our businesses and how we can create that for our clients. Because when you receive a luxury experience, you want to give it. That's the beautiful thing with heart-centered entrepreneurs. The minute you receive something beautiful, you want to give it. So even when you receive luxury, your clients are going to get a better business from you. And then you can get behind charging more because you're like, I know how much I paid for this luxury experience. So now I can get behind my pricing more. Everything is going to start to rise. So I can feel you guys percolating, and that's what I wanted. So we're going to dive into other things now. Let's just see. So Shoshanna says, this is what I did for me today. When we actually care for ourselves, I think that's priceless, a priceless place to come home to. Is this question that what only comes in when you have bountiful extra cash? Is this a question that only comes in when you have bountiful extra cash? Maybe if that's what you experience, but what if you had What if you said, my thing is, let's say someone who lives in the city says, my thing is I get Uber Eats to deliver me my coffee every morning. So your luxury thing costs you $15 a day. But what's it like to have someone show up? You go, you take your shower, you come out, your breakfast on the table. Someone brought it for you. What if it was something like that? You know, what if it was something more like, I never call an Uber unless it's an Uber Black, like the big cars and it's the luxury thing. I don't get an Uber unless it's that. What are the smaller things that you can do that you're like, this is going to really make a difference for me? You know, even if it's like a one-time thing. So if you said, today, I am getting a person that's going to come and do that's going to organize my kitchen. I want a professional organizer. How much does this cost? Let me find a person that's going to do this for me. I can totally get behind that. And then watch a person organize your kitchen and see how it feels to not have to lift a finger. Like, go for your budget if that's what it is. But there's going to come a certain time where in order for it to really hit for you, it's got to be a big deal. And that tends to be the more I spend on other people. If I'm just doing little, like I got myself a coffee this morning, it feels imbalanced. And so it's got to be in alignment with the amount of money that you are currently earning, I would say. So you don't want to devalue it and say, I don't need all those things. I could just do this and it would make me feel special. You want to say, this is a huge deal and it's pushing the edge of worthiness. Because it's not a money thing. That's the craziest thing. It's not a money thing. It's a worth thing. Because how you feel when you feel that kind of worth directly impacts your money as an entrepreneur. It's an investment every single time if you're willing to feel it. And that's what I think we forget along the line. A makeup artist comes to my house every week. I love that. Photo shoot next week. I prepaid quarterly all year last year. That's a vibe. We're rebranding as we speak immediately after getting the photos. I'm so excited to see that. This is incredible. I love bragging. Melanie will tell you. Okay, I thought I saw someone say that they had a question or something about something earlier. I think it was Suzy. Is that possible? Okay, Suzy, come up.
Yeah, I've got loads of things swirling around like this. Like, it almost feels like the first time I listened to Exponential Wealth and you told the story about being in the hotel room in the sketches. I've got a similar feeling to that. And I'm kind of trying to organize it because lots of things came up. But I think that the thing that I would appreciate most help on is the protection word. So I have lived in Mexico, and there, like, the car that we drove was like a big fuck off, like massive old school Jeep. It's like 1970s style, super cool. But you wouldn't drive anything that was like nice because you're in Mexico and you don't want to draw that attention to you. Mm-hmm. In Nigeria, when you go and visit, every house has bars every house has like the bottles and like the broken bottles to stop people coming over the top. Everybody is in protection mode. And for me, I've always felt like that fear of the desire to protect oneself from somebody stealing from you makes you more of a match for somebody stealing from you. And, you know, to the extent that even when we lived in London, I'm like, it's fine to have the back door open. Like, I never lock my door in my house now. It still drives my ex mad. So why not? Everybody wants to lock the door. I'm like, just leave the door open. And there is a part of me, I have to acknowledge, that is a bit like, you can come in. Like, there is a part of me that's like, you can come in, I've got nothing to take anyway, which isn't true, but there is a part of that mindset there. But the main thing is this feeling of, did you feel unsafe before they gave you the bodyguard? Is it only the fact that they gave you the bodyguard that you're now thinking, oh my God, I'm walking around with $1 million? Or were you feeling like that before? There's just this sense of, and I think about Kim Kardashian, I think about her getting robbed in Paris and how she's like, I now don't travel with any like large amounts of money or large amounts of jewelry because I just want to completely avoid that and I want to feel at ease with myself. So it's that piece that I find like particularly jarring, that need to protect myself. So I would love any thoughts on that.
So I still didn't feel I was not safe. I felt it was interesting that I didn't feel the need to protect me as much as someone else would. Not because I'm not safe. Why can't I stop this sound? Can you guys hear it when it's dinging, or is it just me? Okay, well, then it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is the way I experience it. You have a little kid and you love your kid with all of your heart. And you say it's very important that you look both sides of the road when you're crossing the road. Your child is not aware of dangers. And so you're going to worry about your kid because they just could go straight across the road. You tell them it's important that you look on each side of the road because you don't want to get hit by a car. Are you telling them it's important to look each side of the road so that they worry about crossing the street, or so that one day they realize how important life is and that it's just look on each side of the street? Right.
Yeah.
So what was mind-boggling to me is I'm a full-grown human, and my mind didn't say to me, you're a very valuable person. You should probably have protection if you're going to travel with that much stuff. Not because there's fear, because it matters. In the same way that person in the Porter flight talked to me as if the plane was going to go down, instead of saying to me, this is the way it works, this is how it is, have a safe flight. She was afraid we were going to crash. I would have had the same information from a person who just wanted me to know how it worked than a person who was afraid the plane was going to go down. It's not about the fact that you get security. It's who you are when you get the security. When I get the security and I feel like a big deal, that's good for me. When I take the security because I'm scared, that's a different thing. I don't tell people where I am in the world. No one ever knows where I am in the world, ever, 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 ever. Kim Kardashian is a dodo bird because she posted a picture of a multi-million-dollar ring and then told people where she was. Like, you know what I mean? You can have all the security you want. If you're giving people a roadmap, and the thing is, she sent the security guards away with her sisters. She said, I'm here. Oh my gosh, look at this huge multi-million-dollar ring that I have. Also, I'm checking myself into this hotel. Also, I've sent my bodyguards out with my sister and they've gone clubbing and I'm staying home alone at the hotel tonight. Good night. 1 + 1 = robbery. So that was silly. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're saying you're going and you're traveling in a place outside of where you are and you want to bring all of your luxury. And instead of you needing to be careful, or you even, because this is the little loop that I don't think you noticed in your language that I'm super excited about in your question, is the reason you're willing to leave the back door open is because you tell yourself you have nothing to steal. What I'm trying to say is no wonder you have nothing to steal. Because you would rather not be afraid if people come in than just get protection and have everything to steal and no fear that it will be. Because if you were a billionaire, there'd be tons of stuff to steal. So you have two choices: become a billionaire and get the right people at the door to make sure you sleep tight no matter what's in your house, or make sure there's nothing in your house. You've chosen to feel the latter. There's nothing to steal here. I have nothing. But you want to look like a big deal, a big shot, and sell out stadiums about wealth. Uh-oh.
Yeah. There's a humbleness, there's a pride in humbleness as well. I feel that very strongly.
Oh, your sound went. Oh, you're muted.
There is a humbleness frequency as well. There's a pride. And I think actually only coming into your world did I allow myself to buy a really nice bag. And I went for lunch with my sister today and she said, what would you splurge on? We were playing this game. And well, she had to answer the question and she said travel. And that's the only thing that I really allow myself to be extravagant with. Otherwise,
I'm buzzing. I have things I want to tell you. Let me just say something to you.
Okay.
So here's the thing. You being humble means you want the whole world to think you're good. You being good means you are. So you care about the image more than the facts. Because if not, what you would know with every fiber of your being is that people could judge and imagine you're whatever it is that you are, but the minute they get close enough to know, they would know that you're just fantastic and one of the greatest human beings on earth. And if they're not willing to get close enough to you to know that, then who cares? But you want to appear like you're a good person instead of just being a good person. And you spend so much energy trying to appear like a good person that you're spending energy. You could create riches, relationship, success beyond belief, transformation for people on the planet, but you're managing your energy between doing some of that and some of looking like you're none of it. Imagine if you took all your energy to build it and you trusted that the fact that you're good is enough. You don't need to look it too.
Okay, I've got another question. When you did the one, or maybe it was the Legend program, you talked about being the one and then having your time off when you're not the one.
Yeah.
Does that still feel, because this feels like you own it all of the time.
You own it all of the time in the sense where the big chunks of your life that support you and being who you are being taken care of. But like when you're at lunch with your sister, you're still going to be who you are. The problem is right now you're trying to pretend that you're not who you are. And Catherine does this. It's not even about, it's about you're pretending you're not who you are in order to not look a certain way. So that's the opposite. You know, when we're saying I'm the one, there's an energetic match to who I am. And then there's also the growth of me saying there's another level to me. And so I'm fully claiming who I am and I'm playing with this growth. That's an edge. But if I'm saying I'm fully who I am, but I also sometimes pretend I'm not so people think I'm nice, that's completely the opposite of what we're talking about. And that's what you're presenting as a possibility. When I talk, I am the one energy, I'm saying I am working on being more than I already am. And there's days I'm just who I am. You're saying there's days I'm who I am and there's days I pretend I'm not so people don't get bothered by it.
Not consciously. When I think about what I teach about coming from a place of fullness and wholeness and completeness and enoughness. It's knowing that I'm enough, and then everything else is like the cherry on top. And you can take the cherry away and I'm still going to be amazing, and you can add the cherry and the cherry on top of the cherry and the cherry on top of the cherries, and that gets to be really fun. And so there's a part of me that's and maybe the very simple thing is it's just allowing and accepting of all of who I am right now and giving myself permission to have all of the cherries.
All the cherries, because here's the other piece of it. And I love that this kind of activated the same feeling as the Sketcher story, because I added another piece that I don't know how much I've shared in programs recently, like in Unconventional, when I was talking about the fact that I had this realization that it wasn't fair. That when I was in a room and I looked around myself and I saw such beautiful people in the beautiful environment, I'm in Hawaii and I'm seeing these gorgeous gowns and beautiful shoes and gorgeous purses and big hats. And I get to see that, but they're seeing this. And so this humble thing of, I spend all my money on travel, but I don't spend money on myself. But what about everybody else that spends money on travel and doesn't get the beauty that you could be in the shot, that needs to crop you out of the picture because you don't fit, you know what I mean? You don't want the designer bag, but you know how great it is for a person to take a picture of a restaurant and on a chair is a beautiful bag that ends up in their shot. That's a great moment. You know, when you take a picture of someone, just a snapshot, and in the background are 3 people walking and all 3 of them look sharp. That's an awesome picture. You get to be the background of the beauty that you invest in. And when I realized that I'm not just this invisible thing that I don't see, I'm this very present thing that everybody else experiences as in the room. So when I travel, do I take myself with me? And it started changing the way I treated myself, because it's like when you watch a person walk in with all of their greatness, they make the room. When I was on the water in the Bahamas and the most beautiful yachts are there, and I'm just like, gosh, this is gorgeous. And I'm taking pictures of their boat while I'm on my boat. I love their boat. I love my boat, but I love their boat. If I'm on a little dinky, broken down boat, they get to be on a boat, but they don't get a picture of my boat. I get to be on my boat and get a picture of their boat. This is how we start to create beauty. Not just about the travel. It's about you bringing yourself with you.
I get it. You know, one of the biggest compliments that I got from the quantum shift.
Tell me.
I a handful of people say this, but the first person who said it, I was like, oh my God. And she went, Suzy, I really just want to thank you for this whole experience. It's been amazing. She is somebody that had flown, she's a client of mine, had flown in from Zimbabwe to be at the event, which just blew my mind. And she went, Suzy, thank you for this, thank you for this, thank you for this, but I really want to thank you for the outfits. She went, and I laughed, and she went, no, 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 seriously. Everything about this event has been an experience, and you thought about everything, and the outfits, people were waiting to see what I came out on. I had 8 outfits for 3 days. They were waiting to see what I came out with on stage every like morning and lunchtime, and they would all be like, oh my God. And I fucking loved it. Like, I loved it, and they loved it, and I really just allowed myself. First time I've had full makeup the whole time, first time I've done full hair, yeah, so I really get it. And so it feels like permission to allow that to be just the standard.
Yeah, because this is what we said at the beginning of the call. You don't question anything when you're doing it for the stage.
No,
it's just that you don't carry that same knowing off the stage.
Yeah.
The question now is like, do you carry that knowing off the stage? Why is it, would it have been humble to say, I could have bought 8 outfits for 3 days, but I wore the same thing every day and I saved money and I was humble and it was great. It's like, okay, good for you. It's the same energy when you say, I go to these beautiful places and I travel, but I pack very light and I don't have great outfits because it doesn't matter. Okay, good for you. Good for you. You're humble. You could be great, but you're humble. Good for you. Congratulations. But that's not even who you are. Who you are is who you are on the stage. And everything else is I don't know that I'm allowed to be who I am on the stage because no one's paid me to walk into this room. And they paid me to walk onto that stage. But what would your life look like if you imagine you were paid to walk into every room you walked into? If every hotel had the privilege of have you as a guest, if every restaurant had the privilege to have you as a guest, if you did it in honor of, for me, for you, for us, I make the room, I make the party, I make the room, I make the event, I make the evening, I make the restaurant, I make the hotel, I make the night. I will be the one that raises the bar no matter where I'm going. I will make this I'll make it a better party. I'll make it a better place. I'll make it a better, I will be the one that people look at and say, because of that person, this night was elevated. You get to be that everywhere if you choose it. But no one in the real world is saying, do it, or I give you permission to do it, because it feels like you have permission on the stage. It's the same thing as us in our programs. We show up with so much confidence when people are already paying us. But then when we go off and it's like, I'm trying to get people to like me on social media, or I'm trying to sell this masterclass, all of a sudden it's like, I'm trying to get permission. Am I allowed to show up the same way when I'm trying to get permission as when I do have permission? Well, it depends how much you believe that who you are travels and who you are is sustainable all across the board. If you're only who you are in pockets of time, you'll only earn accordingly in pockets of time. You'll only attract clients in pockets of time. You'll only be a match for experiences in pockets of time. But if you manage to make it a full rounded identity, then you're earning every second of every day. You're magnetizing every second of every day. You're connecting with people every second of every day. Your whole life becomes this perpetual momentum of everything is what everything is, instead of it is what it is when it's this. And then the rest, I'm waiting for permission. And you don't need to be humble when you're actually good. There's what it is and there's what it looks like. And you don't need to worry about what it looks like when you're so good at what it is. Only worry about what it looks like when what it is sucks. Then you got to make sure the image is good. But if you're actually gold inside, why are you going to paint it gold if it's gold inside?
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm just gonna, I'm excited for what this can do for you, because you are one of those people who, like, the it factor is very strong, you know, like the vibe is just, you've done the embodiment piece in so many different jolts, and it's so clear what it can be. Just imagining that as a transferable, like it's who you are and people get to see this on a daily basis. I feel like the planet will tilt a degree. Like you'll have the power to shift things monumentally if you can hold this power longer, more. It'll be a shift for a lot. You represent so many things: motherhood, womanhood, women of color. You sell, like you have so many different things that you can say. I advocate, I advocate, I advocate. Like you change so many communities in being who you are. It's quite spectacular when you unleash yourself, how many people you set free. You really do touch so many hearts. You're directly connected to the source of so many people's want for freedom. Who are you helping by being humble when you can be free?
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. I love you. Okay. Does anybody have something else? Anybody else going through something? I know Shoshanna said she wanted to come on for some coaching today. So let's get Shoshanna.
Hey, everybody.
You're such a shift in energy. Hello.
Hi, it's so good to see you guys.
Like, Shoshanna's like,
oh my gosh. Well, okay, those of you, you know me now. I get really hyped, like to the point where I don't know if I'm okay. Like Christian was saying, I would think you were like manic, but you don't get like depressed. But I get so high that it like, I just came down to earth, I think, like yesterday. Like I felt like, oh, I'm the chillest I've been in like weeks. And then my energy started to like buzz again because I had my first call in this accelerator program. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. But anyway, I'm super excited to be here. You're all amazing. This talk has been so great. Thanks for sharing behind the scenes with us. What I would really love support with is like, even with this call, this new like 10X program yesterday, I realized that I bring the emotions and the energetics and the embodiment work. Like I know that stuff, and yeah, I can always excel in it, you know, but it's like, they're all talking about kind of like time hacking and the structural pieces. And what I get to add is like, have you ever just been the chill rocket ship? You know, like how can you like shift your relationship with time and all of that? But when it actually comes to, I don't feel disempowered around it. It's just, I actually need help with like the structures, like having the team, like being a CEO, you know, that's the stuff I really do need to, I believe. Like I'm always going to keep growing as a person, and those things I'm really great at, but I've been putting off, like, I realize that I've been waiting for the thing before I assume the identity. I'm like, I'm not professional enough. I'm not a good enough boss. I'm not, I don't know. They're going to see behind the scenes and realize I'm the kind of person that breaks the glass and then just puts a towel over it, you know, for a week. Like, I just can't be bothered with details. It like makes my whole body, like, I just want to lay down. I'm just an artist. I need to be managed. I need people to find the people, you know? And so here I am. I know this has been coming up. I feel way more empowered than I was when we first talked about it, right when I joined Unity, and I got rid of, in the best way, sounds bad, those two women I was working with. I have a new woman coming in. So I've just hired a community manager, but I'm like, I want to hire a marketing person, an ads person, a operator. Like, I want to really take this to the next level and, you know, take it seriously. So anyway, I'm in this place where I'm like, okay, what is the 10X? And I realize, and Melanie, you really helped me with this. Like the second you know that you need to do something, you just need to do it. Like, why aren't you doing it? And I love my mastermind, and it's just not, I can't be, it's like, I just feel in my body, like it's a no, like I can't be just answering messages every single day. I can't be doing it. Mm-hmm. And so I would love support. I think it was Genevieve, and you also gave some support around like how to frame this, and just even ideas from the group and you guys on like, I know it's up to me and how I restructure it, but there are some ladies in there, their contracts are up at the end of the year. It's different than like a couple months I can do it, but the whole end of the year, I'm just, I don't want that energetically, structurally. I want to understand how I can say, hey, here's how we're moving things, and also know that they can break their contract. But I also want to make it like really awesome so that they don't want to, but then again, I can't manipulate them. And then the second part.
Well, let me say this because I've already got three things in my head.
Okay.
You got in your mind. Okay? You have what you want to say though, because I don't want you to forget it. You'll remember.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is very similar to something I said to Danielle today. There's certain things we say in life where there's this definite energy about it. And there's other things we say in life that the way we say it shows a question. And I picked up on something you just did there. And it's fresh in my mind because I was talking to Danielle about this, but you said something like, you know, what are people going to think? Or are they going to realize I'm a bad boss? And what are they going to do when they realize that I break a glass and I put a towel over it because I don't want to deal with like what it is, Fred. I don't like the details. And in the energy that you said it like it was a problem, where sitting exactly where you are, looking exactly as you look, being exactly who you are right now. If you said to a person exactly this, I need a very strong person who's detail oriented, because I am the kind of person that will break a glass and put a towel on top of it, and my business deserves better. I need the right person. Are you the person for the job?
Yeah.
You would be the most powerful person in the room. And so the very thing you're afraid people would find out if you just said it, I break a glass, I put a towel on top. I need the right person to manage stuff because I'm not detail oriented. It would be the most powerful thing out of your mouth. It's not about what you're doing. It's about, I don't like this, I'm going to put someone in the right place. It's about telling people this is exactly who I am and this is what my company deserves. And so I'm hiring you to make sure that the broken glass gets picked up. Are you up for that job? Because I won't be the one doing it. It's in fully claiming that you're going to get the people who are like, that's perfect because I'm good at that. I can totally do that.
Yeah.
Not what will they find out when they realized I'm very disorganized and I'm more like artist. You're like, I'm an artist. The organization thing is not my strength. My company needs organization. I need not only an organized person, but a person who's able to organize an artist. Are you able to do that? Can you see the difference in just owning these things?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a big difference right there.
And you're going to attract a different person when you're trying to pretend that you don't do that and hope that their leadership is enough that they'll never need to find out that you do that, versus being super unapologetic and very honest about your gifts and saying, I will notice you if you don't pick the glass up because I know what it looks like when it's covered. That's what I've been doing for years. So I'm never going to pick it up, but I'm going to be super aware if you don't. Are you up for it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is so good. I feel excited. I see all of this is so helpful. It's like the same breakthrough always, of the breakthrough from the acceptance of the thing, and the thing that we're afraid of is the source of our power, which is my whole brand, and I love this so much. And I think I just need to get over the bullshit of like, where am I going to find these people? And like, is it going to work? And all of that, and just try, because I don't know until I try. So just go for it, get the right people. And I just am like reimagining the second part of this question.
Oh, wait, I didn't tell you the next part because you also had
keep
part.
going. Oh my gosh, I'm here for it.
So your mastermind. Now, there's a few things with the mastermind that I want to say. First of all, a mastermind that you don't love will not do well. There's just no way to have a mastermind that you don't love do well. It's not possible.
And I've had this one since early 2020. So it's been like a year and a half, and it's gone through life, death, rebirth. I had a mastermind before that, but it wasn't like the Voxer. So it's not that I don't love it. It's that it's not aligned with where I need to go.
No, I get that. But what I mean is when you don't love the way the mastermind is running, they're not getting the value and you're not getting the value.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first time I did a shift in the mastermind for me, everyone used to be, I used to be able to have private clients in the Voxer chat. When I first launched, my mastermind was called Hypermind, and all my private clients had access to the Voxer. And what I realized is that a lot of my private clients were just doing all the dirty work with me behind the scenes privately, and then just celebrating in the private chat, which made them be put on a pedestal by all the girls who weren't private coaching, which made the girls in the mastermind think they needed private coaching, and made people who weren't ready for private coaching want to be coached by me privately, just because it looked like the girls who were coached privately didn't need any help. Steph's like, guilty. So that happened. And also it created this whole, like, maybe we need to hire all these private clients. So all my private clients, all of the mastermind clients were overextending themselves, buying from me and all my private clients, because it felt like they needed to get the juice from all of us because we were the only ones with no problems. It created a mess. And so I had to say, my private clients don't get access to this anymore. And a bunch of my private clients fired me because of that. They were like, well, I joined at this price point because I was also getting the mastermind. If I'm not getting the mastermind, I'm done. And I had to say, okay, but some people did stay, and I changed the mastermind. Then it was, everybody got a call every single month. People in the mastermind, every single person received a call in the mastermind. And then I got a concussion, and I just could not do 30 one-on-one calls plus my private calls every month. It was just not possible. And so I said, it's one call every quarter now. And some people left because they couldn't have a call every month. I completely understand, but I was just not willing to do it anymore. Some people stayed. It's perfect. So I have changed the mastermind multiple times for it to get here. And I'm curious of how it gets to be changed again. I'm getting so much feedback about Voxer not being the thing. And so, being kind of overwhelmed with Voxer, or I want to see if there's a way to better streamline the mastermind. I'm kind of looking into Slack to see, is there a way that I can maybe listen to your questions in a way, answer the questions in Voxer, but get my team to take the audio and put it in Slack. So if you haven't been there for a day, you can just go find whatever happened in Voxer in the Slack. You know what I mean? If you want to be in Voxer, you go in the Voxer. But if you're I know Slack has audio, but I feel like there's less connection in Slack, but it's a better organizational tool. So people who love Voxer go back and forth in Voxer, but my audios, let's say there's a thing about money, there's a thing about business, there's a thing about whatever. And my team grabs the audio that has to do about money and puts it in an audio thing in Slack. And if you've been off for a week, you literally go to Melanie, audio, money, all my riffs are there. Like, how cool would that be? If you're in the mastermind, you don't have time to catch up on everybody's stuff, but you want to hear all my riffs. Could we do something like that? Like, what are all the ways that I could make it more accessible? Not to make the relationship less, but to make the coaching more accessible. Maybe that's a thing. And then maybe people would utilize Voxer a little bit less if they weren't like, maybe they'd go and say, I have a question about money, but let me just go in the riff section of all the money riffs and let me go listen to all the riffs I've got in the last week. Maybe I missed something. You know what I mean? People might utilize what I've done more instead of asking the same question someone else may have asked. Is there a way? It will take me a while to build this, but I'm not saying, oh, people don't like Voxer. Okay, I'm taking Voxer off. Or I don't like this. I'm done with this, because I'm not there yet. But there have been times in my life where I'm like, this I'm done with. It's changing now. So you've just got to trust yourself. If you're saying, look, there's 6 people that are going through the end of the year with me. What I want to do is say this. For the 6 of you, I want to have a special call with the 6 of you. As soon as everybody else ends at the end of the year or in the middle of the year, I'm changing the structure of this mastermind. What I would love is to actually meet you and spend time with you. What I would love is to change the structure so we're not so connected every single day in the like talking, and we actually go do things in our work. And so I really want to empower you to do that. And then we're going to do meetings, and this is the structure I'm looking at. And so I want you to sit with it and feel into it. And we can have a little 15-minute, 30-minute chat about it when you're ready, and tell me what you think, what you feel, what you need, and we'll do it. And if they all say yes, they all say yes. And if some say, well, this would be missing, you'll figure out what you want, what you need. You love these 6 people and you've got a few months to figure it out. There's no stress. You know what I mean? So, and then if the people that are there decide to resign, then you say, well, you can absolutely resign, but here's the new structure. Do you still want to resign? But then when you're obsessed with your mastermind, even if only 2 of them stayed, once you know what the plan is going to be, you start selling it with a new plan. You create a wait list right now. If you know right away 4 people are going to leave and not stay, but you've got a few that are staying through the summer, you start selling the new iteration of your mastermind now with a payment plan that starts, and people start in the summer, you'll replace them all because of your energy. It won't matter.
Yeah. This is good. It's like reminding me of the refinement energy. I've always just built on it, but there's like a part of me that's like, oh my God, just end it. Like, and then 2024, but that could be like not the most empowered response. So I love this. I'm definitely going to sit with that, and just like the only thing.
You could also end it, Shosh, if you wanted. You could.
Yeah, I know. I'm like 3 months. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's something about it, but I could also do that with the whole group, not just everybody who's ending, and just say, this is how we're changing it, and whoever wants to stay can stay. Yeah. And then I could start selling it, but part of me is like, yeah, okay, this is helpful. Thank you so much. I hope that.
Now what's the next part? I answered all your
okay. Oh my gosh, thank you. I feel like when I have questions, they're like all right, one after the other. But so I'm like reimagining my business. So I'm really excited. I have so many ideas and so many offers, and so many people are like, what do you really do? And it's like, oh, just the whole growth is the whole person. That's why I'm working with you, right? Because you do a similar thing, and yet different vibes, different movement, which is the thing it all ties back into. But it's been almost like recently, even my human design reading, she was like, you're meant to like guide people. Like I was finding people are like, hi, I don't know like where to start. And that's okay. You know, I believe they'll lead themselves. They'll see the thing that's exciting for them. But I was doing all of these amazing programs, like really good, for not even that much money, which again, doesn't really matter. People see the value in something higher anyway. I get that. But it would be like, oh my God, it would be nice if someone would join my vortex, or it would be nice if someone would join my mastermind. It wasn't like
An
it wasn't
expectation.
really working.
Yeah.
It was like, I would do this amazing class. It was working, but like, I kind of loved that message you said that validated me one day, which was like, hey, people don't always like jump off the back of things. They find me during that, and then they follow me on social and they jump in when they're ready. And I love that. That's such an empowered way to look at it. It's more feminine. I love it. And I do want a system that works and that like can exponentially grow this thing. And that system was just feeling like the same thing. And it's like, okay, people are just joining these random things here and there. And sometimes they jump in off the back, but there's no real incentive. So it's like, where could I keep my creativity? And then I went to this freaking event and the whole thing was about continuity. And like, I was just like, what if I try this? Like, I'm looking for the answer of what's next. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to try what they're putting down, because it's like, I could have 3 tiers and that's just it. It's just my membership, my vortex, and my high level. And so not selling the programs anymore. But when I launch a program, wrapping it in my vortex. But I guess I'm kind of like, I'm curious about all your perspective on that, where it's like, if I do a class, I want to do on the thank you page, like join the membership, so that like, you know, a free month in the membership or $100 in the membership. And so they could dive into that while they're waiting for the class. Then they go on the class, and the class, I sell the program. Like I have a program coming up.
Uh-oh. We lost you. Shoshana. Frozen. Okay. I'm going to coach a little bit because I feel like there's a lot of people that are trying to do this very thing, and Shosha's going to come back and then we'll pick it up. But one of the things that I realize is that there is no only one way that things work, but there is only one energetic way that things work. And the only one energetic way that things work is that you love it and you're obsessed with it and it feels like the right thing for you. And the crazy thing is that that can change dramatically over time. You could have something that feels like the best thing. It's working like crazy, and all of a sudden it just stops, and it stops being cool. It stops being fun, and you hate it. And you can also have something that you hear the first time and you're like, I would never do that. That sounds awful. And then you hear it again a few months later and you're like, I'll try it. And then you do it and you love it. So that's why I'm all about energetics when it comes to strategy. When I look at all the things I've done to sell the AFE, I have had times in my life where I did not expect to sell any programs at all. I just wanted to sell the AFE. There was a lot less people in the AFE, but I only focused on selling the AFE. And it felt like if one person came in every day of AFE, it would change my entire life. So I just focused on creating content as though one person a day could join the AFE. So it wasn't about the programs. It was all about the AFE. If one person a day joined my AFE, there'd be 300 something new people every year. Imagine what that would be like. And so it was just the focus on that and the focus on that. And then eventually what happened is I realized not everyone was meant for AFE. Some people didn't need the full conversations. And based on the way that I was running it, I only let people do the program I'm running live. So let's say someone wanted to learn money from me and they joined the AFE. Well, Exponential Wealth doesn't run until next summer. They've got to wait until they get the program they wanted from me for like a year, which feels not great. So then I started opening up, selling the program and letting people buy access to the program. And something really amazing happened. A lot more people started buying just the one program. And so then I had this fear, like, how come so many people are buying the program and not AFE? But that's not actually what was happening. It's not that they were buying the program and not the AFE. Is that they were buying the program when they wouldn't have bought the AFE. And so I looked like I was getting a lot more program purchases and less AFEs, when in fact, I was still getting more AFEs and more program purchases. Then I started doing the big, bold thing of saying you can upgrade after your program. So take the program, and if you want to do AFE, roll everything you just took into the AFE. And so then that was kind of mind-boggling. I sold the programs like crazy, and then people joined the programs and then upgraded from the programs to AFE. That was amazing. Then I felt like I wanted to talk. Then people started hearing about the AFE. So I couldn't even get through the actual masterclass without someone being like, what about AFE? So then I felt pressured to talk about AFE. So I started talking about AFE too soon. Then people started saying, well, what's the point in buying a program? I'll wait till I can do AFE. Then people started to wait. And so there's been so many different structures, ways, strategies. What comes first? What comes next? What do I present? Right now, when you really think about it, there really are only a few ways to work with me in close proximity. You're doing E3 at a very small level. You're doing AFE at a medium-sized level, you're doing Unity at top level. And then I've got a very select amount of private clients and I don't even showcase that. But if someone isn't ready to say, I'm ready to jump in full thing, I get mad every time someone wants to cancel something. I don't have the energetic bandwidth to handle cancellations. I hate it. So sell the programs, let someone do one thing and upgrade if they want. And when I upgrade my energetic bandwidth and I say, give it a shot for 1 month, same as what Shosh was saying, like do it for a month. And if you don't, test the membership while you're waiting for your program, and then you might stay in the membership. But for me, every time they canceled it, it was like, ugh, I hated that. So I wanted them to have only the programs. Then I worked on the bandwidth and I was like, if it's a smaller amount, I don't mind. So I created E3 where they could cancel anytime. Now E3 is $1 million a year offer. Can you see how everything is shifting and changing? And if I don't like the energy of this, I try this. And if I like the energy of that, it guides this. So that's kind of how I've decided to build, instead of like, what's just the strategy? My Wi-Fi is out, broke the internet, and my data is barely working. Well, I think you'll be able to watch this piece on replay and it's going to be really, really helpful. Do you ever feel trapped by your past decisions? Can they buy any of the programs on recording? The only one they can't buy is the manifestation equation, because I made that one in AFE only, but any other thing they would want to buy, they could buy on the recordings, no problem. In the past, one that I would have said, no, they can't, is Femme Fatale, because of the energy of the program. And the way I fixed that is we've created a continuation of a whole year, which means when they come in, there is an energy. Nicole's supporting the energy, I'm supporting the energy. So what I would say is, if you've got a membership, there's a few things that are happening in order to purchase it. You either make it very exclusive, where it's like the only way to work with me is to buy the membership. Or the only way to work with me is to buy the bundle. If I said to people, let's say I sold the coach program and I said, it's $5,555. It's amazing. And you can do the coach program or you can do the AFE. That's one strategy. The other strategy is to get people wanting the coach program so much and then saying, and you can't buy it unless you're in the AFE. I would get a lot more AFEs. Especially if I said the coach program's $5,555. And this year, unless you're in AFE, you can't have it. Then people will be like, oh my gosh, well, okay, I'll do AFE. It's a third of the price anyway, might as well. That would work. But if I did that with all of my programs, I'd get bored of it. So I'd have to change my strategies because it's who I am. Whereas some people find one strategy and do it for their whole life. I get bored with the same strategy. I've got to rejudge and reorganize. So for sure, I have felt trapped sometimes by past decisions. I think it's almost impossible not to, because in the moment where you're afraid to change things, you feel trapped. But in the knowing I'll always be okay with my 3 line, I'm pretty good at breaking free from those things. When I feel most trapped is when I don't know for sure what I want to do instead. But then I'm trapped more by my mind than my decision. So I remind myself I'm free, and usually there's wiggle room. Any of those purchases can apply to the AFE after. Yep. And so it's like they have 15 days after the program ends. So let's say it's a 3-week program. They get an extra 15 days to go through it on the replay, but my team will tell them, if you ever want to upgrade to the AFE, you'll have this much time. And then they follow up with them if they've watched the replay. You have this many days left in order to use the full amount. After that, they could still use it. So let's say you bought coach in January and in June, you decide you want to do AFE. You can't use the full amount towards AFE, but you can use 1 month of AFE and say, I've done one of the programs, so one of the months gets taken off. That's the way we've done it. Okay, so Shoshanna, do you have the bandwidth to continue this? Is your Wi-Fi not strong enough? Am I better to continue with you in Voxer after my calls today? What's your feel? So I want you to get the answers, but if your internet's not solid enough, we can do the Voxer thing. And then I also saw Genevieve has a question. Okay. So let's bring, well, I don't know what the rest, because I don't know what the question, I don't know how far more the question goes. It was so exciting. Okay, well, I think Genevieve was inspired by the whole conversation. So Genevieve might take us into the continuation of the question. So Genevieve, come on up.
Hi. Okay, so Shoshanna's conversations on this stuff inside the chat have been like doing something to me these last few days. And I'm feeling like on a very similar trajectory with my business. And I feel like, I was like 15 minutes late coming to this call because I was on the phone with my business psychic, AKA my mother. And I was just like telling her all of this stuff that's coming through in my business. And she was like, holy shit, like whatever, this is it. This is the thing, like whatever. So what I'm feeling in my business right now is I've been feeling in my body the energy of like multiple 7 figures a year, but as just like the starting point, like I can literally feel it coming towards me. And my lower cost offers, like I'm getting, like they're popping off and I'm getting more people in those than I ever have. And I feel like there's this energy of the universe is like leaving me breadcrumbs of like, go this way, wink, you know, by like the things that are working, because anytime I find something that hits, I'm always going to double down on it. Right. Like what is it? Every great thing, the back end of a masterpiece, like whatever. I always
Best time to launch something extraordinary is on the back end of a
Yes.
masterpiece.
Yeah, so I'm definitely feeling a lot of that happening in my business right now. And I'm feeling similar to Shoshanna, but maybe slightly different, where I am feeling really called away from close proximity. And in the sense where like I really can feel it in my gut and in my body right now, where it's like double down on my memberships and like my low ticket things and just free up a lot of my time and my energy so I can go do other things like write another book, you know, do more in-person stuff, things like that. And my question on this is like I'm kind of ironing out the pieces and the details. And I'm even thinking about like trademarking my low cost membership, the Money Game membership, because that was like an accidental genius thing that I created where I was like, the Money Game, no, why has nobody ever done this, you know? And it's I'm wanting to make this, what I said in the chat when me, Shosh, and Katie were talking, I was like, you know, imagine this being a 7-figure offer, right? And I want to make this membership like a 7-figure, multiple 7-figure offer. And I feel like really pretty clear on releasing close proximity, but there is a little bit of fear in me because that's like a huge pivot. And I've never done that before like this. So there's some questioning a little bit, but like my stakeholder is still like, no, this is right. And I have my membership set up in a way where like I can feel that connection because of the chat and stuff like that. And I can coach, and that feels really exciting for me. But then I'm not dealing with all the drama that can happen in close proximity when people have the option of doing something weird that can affect my energy, you know? And so kind of like what you said in the chat yesterday, where it's like the lows, like the highs and the lows, like it's not worth it to me anymore. Like having the highs with these lows, like the lows are taking more of my energy. And so the highs don't feel worth it. And so I'm just kind of like pivoting my energy with this offer. And I want to just like dump gasoline on the fire of this and just make it blow up and be like one of my signature offers. And I'm really excited about that. And the new branding and the new pictures is like perfect timing. But I was playing with the idea of right now it's a 6-month commitment. And I was playing with the idea of if I make this a signature offer, does it make sense for me to launch it only every 6 months? If it's something that I'm really in all the time, right? And really loving. But then I have a little bit of this questioning and maybe fear of like, if I were to make it an ongoing rolling thing, would I stay excited about it? And would people continually join if I made it more of like a month-to-month option? And I'm curious with your E3 membership, like, I think you said yours is like 1 month, you can cancel anytime kind of a thing, right? Or is it just like 1 month, try it out? And then if you want to keep going, we can. And then with that, I'm curious like what you kind of use for your strategy and the dynamic with that so that you stay excited about it continuing, you know?
Okay. So there's a few things.
Sorry. Not a lot.
First thing about close proximity. If I were to ever stop close proximity, the way I would do it for the internet is I would not say I'm done with close proximity. I would say I am taking a break from close proximity so I can focus on ... I've realized that I take a lot, like being in my mastermind takes up, let's say 10 hours a week. And so 10 hours a week, when I could put 10 hours a week in the AFE or add a few hours a week in the AFE, whatever, it feels like that is the right business move for me right now. And although it's difficult for me because it's a very important part of my business and I'm sad to forfeit this piece, I really feel it's time for me to lean into this container, and it's about to be the best container the world's ever known. And so if you want to work with me right now, this is the way to work with me. So, and one day it may change. I hope it does, I hope it does. But right now, this is the thing, and I know it, and I always trust my intuition. Like that would be the way I would release it if I did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes for the mastermind or for the releasing of the membership, my intuition at first was to make it a little more exclusive with the launches so that people aren't just like, oh, I couldn't join anytime kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But while
Yeah.
you're excited about it, there's no reason for you to start that way. So if you said, I'm really focusing my energy on this membership, I'm not taking any close proximity clients for the next short while, and I'm focusing on this, and this is the thing to join, and you went ongoing for as long as you wanted, and you were able to manage the energy and it was working, that's fantastic. But if ever on one day you found people aren't jumping into this the way they used to, it would be a great strategy to then say, I'm closing the doors. And so you want to get in now because this thing we've been doing, we're closing the doors. We're not going to open them for a while or for 2 months, 1 month. And then if it feels like 2 months would be better or 3 months, you could build your way up to it being a launch every 6 months in that division while you launch something else or do something else. But I don't think you need to make all those decisions in the beginning. You could stop the close proximity and the messaging be, I'm going all in on this for the next short while. People don't know how long it's going to be off the table. You're not making any promises. You're not committing to anything. You're just sparing up space for yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And I was thinking about doing that too. And in terms of like, because something I learned when I was working privately with Stephanie was like, I would make impulsive decisions and I was like, I know I'm done with this. And then like 3 months later, I'd be like, I think I want to do it again, but I kind of burned it down a little bit. And she's like, yes, you can act on the safe role, but we have to like not be so impulsive to make like such a hard pivot. And so that was in my mind of like me saying, I'm not doing this for like right now or for the foreseeable future. And everyone in my close proximity containers has like a month, 2 months, or 3 months left, something like that. And I feel really good about finishing with everyone. And I was like, had the idea come forward of like, maybe I could say like, if you want to join this container for the last 2 months, you can. But then I'm like, that could either be really, really fun and like a beautiful, like almost ceremonial way to like close out these close proximity containers for now. But then this other part of me is like, when I know like I'm pivoting, should I just let whoever's there finish and just pivot?
Well, I always ask myself, what would I prefer as a client? Whenever I make decisions that impact my clients, I'm like, okay, let's say I'm in a mastermind, there's 2 months left. Would I prefer an influx of new people and for us to really get very, very busy through the finish line? Would I prefer the mentor to say, let me buckle down with you. Let me take care of you through the finish line. And then I'm hanging it up. What would I prefer? The buzz of energy or the very intentional dwindle?
Honestly, I think everyone would prefer the buzz of energy. I think it would be like an exciting, like, and then finish line.
There you go. So that answers your question.
Okay, perfect. Well, yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for answering my questions. And I might bring some stuff in the Boxer later around like little pieces, but this was perfect. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. I'm going to be in the Boxer a little bit later. So I know this got a lot of juices flowing. So if you want to just kind of sit with everything we talked about, and if something comes up for you, just like drop it in the Unity. I'll be in there a little bit later. Thank you so much for showing up and hanging out with me for so long. I just was so excited to share these realizations with you. And I'm so happy, Jasmine. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do to raise the self-importance. Like no one is ever going to treat us the way we deserve to be treated until we treat ourselves that way. And it becomes second nature for everyone else to just know, oh, this is the way we treat this person because this is the way she treats herself. And so we've got to go first. And then everything starts to change. So I love you. I'll see you in Boxer a little later. I squeeze you. I'll see you soon.